there.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock. Let's call the finance meeting to order. All members are present. I entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as published and also approve the minutes from February 14th. Jenny, second by John, to adopt the agenda and approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, hearing none. Motion carried. Public comment. There were folks, friends from the campground here to just give us a little update. So the floor is yours.
How you doing? I'm Cody Beal. It's my wife Haley. I'm sure most of you remember me. There's a couple new faces since the last time we were here. I know Scott had said there was you guys are looking for updates on what had been going on there. We do have it started. We knocked down what we thought we were going to say was the old office building. It was so dilapidated. Once I dug into it, I said, nope, that's got to come down. So we took it down. As of right now, we are working on getting the back. There's 24 permanent sites. So we're hoping for this spring to have 16 of them open and running. And then as the year progresses, we want to get the all 24 going, running new. We have to run new wiring now. We're adding 4 tent sites also that are going to be open this spring. And then, you know, as time progresses, we're going to hopefully for next year have everything running to its full capacity. Our main reason for being here is our deadline is I think September 25th. We have to have 48 sites open. I don't see that happening. We had a lot of problems with getting material, even a CT cabinet took me 10 months to get. And it was a lot more than what I expected it to be as far as work-wise, getting the things, and the cost of things almost tripled from when we initially set a budget. Like I said, my reason for being here is hoping to get a 1-year extension from you guys to meet the contract that we signed with Kewaunee and Jeff Wisnicki. And then if there's any other questions that anybody has, I would gladly answer them for you. I have a print of, the print really hasn't changed of what we were going to do initially. But if there's any questions or any concerns, I would be happy to answer them for you guys. And like I said, really what we're looking for is 1 year, one extra year, what we currently have. But we will be open this year. That's the thing I want to point out. We will be open this year. We'll have 16 sites starting. It should be spring. So we're looking for Memorial Day weekend to be open.
I know that the COVID year, you guys had a lot of problems with supplies, and
Oh, it was bad.
it was probably like nothing got done that year.
There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, demolishing, we did most of our stuff was what we could do at home because we couldn't really go anywhere to do anything. So, and then finding a contractor that would come in and do the things was another thing. Everybody's busy. I'm a salesman myself. I know how it is. People are busy. So, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. And if you could find it in you to give us a year extension, I would greatly appreciate that.
1 year is going to be enough. So you get 16 that are going to be open this year.
16 this year, but we're hoping to have all 24 this year, and then taking monies from that and you know, just so we have something coming in to get the other ones open.
We'll also have the office.
Oh yeah, the office building is open.
Office will be done with a little general store in the office. So that will be done later too.
Anybody else have any questions for right now? Well, it's not on the agenda as an action item, so we'll put it on our agenda for our next meeting in April, and we'll put it on to extend the current agreement.
I appreciate
See
it.
how it goes.
Okay, I appreciate that.
That's set for April 6th. It's a Thursday before Good Friday. I think it's down. April 9th is that the date?
April 9th is highway.
Yeah, it's April 9th and
April 6th at the highway department.
Is it April 6th?
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
6, yeah, 9 o'clock at the highway
The
department.
9th is your interview with the Indian guy.
Yeah. Oh my.
So just a question on the site. So you've got 40 some, 45 or something is what is the end amount of sites to be done, and you've got 16 will be up and running for the 2023 season.
Correct.
Are these all complete full hookup sites, or?
So they're 50 amp and 30 amp. So it's alternating. There's 50 amp, 30 amp, 50 amp, 30 amp. There'll be water to all of them. We have a dump station. There's not going to be sewer at each site. There'll be a dump station. Then for the time being, we're going to have portals for the 10 sites, obviously, because they depend on that. And then next spring, we're hoping to have a shower house and a bathroom house set up for them. But as of right now, yes, there's the 16 sites are permanent sites.
Anything else? Okay, we'll get that on our agenda for our next meeting, and
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
so it's gonna be, just if you wanna be there, it's gonna be 9 o'clock on the 6th of April at the highway department.
At the highway department.
At the highway office,
Okay. That's the one by Bremer Park.
yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
You write that down one more time.
April 6th, 9 o'clock.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Does anybody want to see the plan? Yeah, I brought it with, but I don't know if anybody would like to see it yet. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Item 6, monthly report. Paul, you want to take care of the financials, the health and dental, and the overtime?
Sure. So we'll start with the monthly financial report. No contingency requests so far, but we're only barely in March. Sales tax received, the last sales tax payment that will be recognized as revenue in 2022 came in $167,688. That is our highest monthly collection so far. And for point of reference, the second highest was 3 months ago. 3 months before that, and this time last year we had 141. So it is significantly higher, but with inflation being at 7%, of course, sales tax goes right along with that. Year to date for 2022 is $1,617,348. Again, highest since we started collecting sales tax.
Did you say we budgeted?
1.2. And then this next year it went up to I think it was 1.45. Okay, as far as departments, again, we have January statements in front of us, not a whole lot going on. I will point out, number one, county treasurer continues to have the adjustment to market value for their long-term investments. That doesn't have an impact, a direct impact on our budget, because that's a reporting requirement that we have to do. So if we sold them today, obviously they're worth less because interest rates have gone up. And the other item is the veteran service. Looks like it's over budget, but it's not. There's a 2022 item that's in 2023. We'll fix that for next month. Next month, we should be, if everything goes according to plan, we should be at a point where we can let you know what the fund balances will end up at the end of the year, because all of our year-end journal entries should be done early March. By the end of March, we'll do our best guesses of what's outstanding, and then we will book those entries and provide the others with the trial balance. So by the time April rolls around, we should have an idea of where our fund balances are going to be, assuming no other entries, as well as there's going to be a handful of carryovers again this year. The sheriff's department's still waiting for squad cars, land conservation's waiting for a truck. Promo and rec is waiting for a tractor. All these are budgeted last year. The sheriff's department was budgeted, and we had an adjustment because the price went up. That tractor could be, but they haven't actually ordered it yet because they couldn't decide on which one. And then of course the prices kept going up on it as well. So there may be that second part of it of, okay, it's more than what was budgeted, where does the difference come from? Parks has places that have come from. And there's one more. There's a grant that the extension didn't finish. That will be carried over as well. Those will come next in April. And then if anybody's looked through the detailed statements, 105 pager, I have started up setting a separate fund for Winter Park. I haven't finished it yet. I'm gonna wait until the winter season is done, so the transactions stop. But at some point coming up, probably after April, the accounts will be set up. We'll ask for a budget adjustment to take the budget that's in the existing Winter Park activity, move it to its new fund, and then go forward from there. And just a heads up, that's gonna result, because we're it's in the general fund now, a governmental fund. We're creating a enterprise fund. They have two different types of accounting. We're gonna see one of those rare scenarios where the transfers in don't equal the transfers out, just because of different types of accounting. It's gonna bug the hell out of me for looking at it. It's a little lopsided, but because the internal service fund is gonna recognize the assets, those don't exist in the general fund, because that's how governmental fund accounting decided they wanted to work. So we're gonna be transferring assets in, and the net value of those two is gonna be a transfer that doesn't come from any place. So it's just gonna look strange, but it's going to be correct. And I'll point that out again when we get to that. That's it for the monthly financial. As far as medical and dental, there's 1 month in. I just want to point out that these reports only include the runout for Humana, because it's Centivo just starting. The expenses haven't come through in January yet. There's a little bit of a delay there. Number one, processing takes some time. Number two, it was in the process of being set up late December, early January. So this only includes the Humana runout. Dental, on the other end, hasn't changed. That one's positive. And of course, being January, there aren't any large claimants yet. Any questions on that? And I don't have anything on the overtime report. So it's a part of the packet. If there are any questions, I can follow up on them, but I don't have anything necessarily to say upon.
Any questions, Paul? You know when the auditors are coming?
Yes, May.
May.
The highway, they always come early highway, so that'd be April 3rd through the 6th. I gotta be able to say hi to them on the next meeting if they're still there. And then for the rest of the county, it'd be May 22nd through the 26th.
Thank you. Okay, item 7, approval of purchase of forklift for the highway department. Todd is here to address that issue. It's been taken up by the highway committee already, so Todd, welcome.
Thanks. Got a couple of unique requests for you today, and approvals, I guess. So we identified that we needed to replace one of our forklifts, a 1960 version of a federal surplus forklift. And so we started looking around. What we found was that the forklifts basically disappear as quickly as they come in, as far as a used one is concerned, because we didn't feel that we needed a new one. So we were looking for a used one. So as we're going through the process, we're talking to the highway committee that we may need to make a decision in a short period of time that wouldn't follow the normal process of approvals going through highway finance county board. And so the committee agreed that if something came up and we felt it was something that we could go after as far as a forklift was concerned, used forklift, that I could communicate with the chairman and sign a sales quote or quotation to put our name on something as it came in. So that's the process that we followed, and in January that did happen as far as a couple of forklifts became available. So we took the opportunity to put our name on one of them. So then and you can see the information in the packet of the model of the Toyota 2018 with a little over 3,000 hours on it for the amount of $33,637. Once we got the information, we brought it to the highway committee and they put it on the agenda. They approved it and recommended approval. And so I'm here asking the finance committee to approve the purchase of the forklift.
But it's already purchased.
It's already in our garage.
So it's kind of roundabout way of going about it, I would say. Was this a planned expense? I mean, was this a capital outlay item that was budgeted for 2023?
Yeah, we've had it on our capital improvement program for several years. We just didn't get at it last year, but we had an opportunity this early this winter, late last winter, to start looking around a little bit more. But yes, it is in our capital improvement program. I don't like to do this stuff. I've said this to the finance committee before because it's not the normal process with the approvals. It's just, I think sometimes, and I'm going to be asking for a different thing in the next agenda item, that we need a little bit of flexibility in order to take advantage of things. If there's an opportunity to take bids, we certainly do, but and get more than one quote. But this is just a isolated purchase that we couldn't do that.
So the fact that we're looking at doing the pickup trucks on the front end with the finance and the forklift, we're coming in the back end of the finance committee after the fact. Couldn't we have done the forklift purchase like you're proposing to do with the pickup trucks and just said, look, this is about what I'm looking for. This is about the amount. And then we would have already done that on the front end.
Yes, I guess. And I would like, to hopefully talk about that with the finance committee and the policies purchasing in the future, if we can do that. The highway department is a little bit unique in purchasing those things because we have the enterprise fund, and where we may say that in the capital and purchase plan that we're going to purchase these 3 things this year, but once we get through the winter or something like that, we may have to purchase 3 other things. They may be on the list, they just might not be in the same.
Well, and if it's on the list, it's something that we're targeting, but
Correct.
we're not necessarily
Yep.
signing off on it. It's a wish list. It's some need, some wish. I guess I'm kind of in the position where if everything went down the way it went down, why don't we just put it up to the full county board for approval after? I mean, why
Are you
would
talking
we,
about the forklift?
yeah,
Oh, I have no problem taking the top board.
as
But-
opposed to this
but-
committee, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's already a done deal. What,
Fine, whatever way that you want to do it, I have no problem with it, but normally I'm here with any purchases for approval, and.
Ahead of
this is
time.
the- Yes, but in this circumstance, yes. Agreed, but I know where you're going with that. There's a long way, I'm doing the best that I can, but a unique situation here presented itself with this particular type.
Have you been looking for a particular type, or is it just any model brand you can get?
We were looking, a certain size. We wanted to upgrade a little bit with a little bit more lift capacity than our last one.
The Toyota must be on the higher end resale, I would assume.
Yeah, they last a long time. We've got another Toyota in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're good machines.
Quality product.
Right.
And really with a used machine, you don't get a bid price.
Yeah.
right.
They're not bidding
That's the bad part,
used machines.
but it's a better buy for us.
How much is a new one of the equivalent model?
Oh, you're talking probably double that? Yeah, and that's something that we don't.
Those four now? That's just a standard size is $100,000 now?
Not, I wouldn't say 100 grand, no.
I'd say
But if you
80,
wanted to get
80, yeah, between
Yeah.
60 and 80.
and if there's some nice features on it that you can get if you need it, that even increases it more.
Inflation at work.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not against the purchase that's already taken place. It's just a matter of, I think, the finance committee, there still was time. We had our February meeting. I mean, anything could have been presented and said, look, I'm looking for a used unit. Here's the parameters I'm thinking I should be able to spend and get it in for. I guess that's just where I'm at. I don't,
I guess probably the more thing that I was worried about was the short time frame of approval. It just came up. Okay. If we were lingering on a little bit more, because nothing was available, which for a couple of months in late 2022 and into January of 2023, there was nothing coming around. They had nothing. All of a sudden, boom, here's a lease. Right. I'm not trying to circumvent the system at all. Just trying to hopefully take advantage of a decent deal. And that's one thing that for purchasing, there is limitations in our purchasing policy here at the county that prevents us from taking timely things or even like auction items. We had an opportunity, not an opportunity, I shouldn't say that. We had interest in an item that was on the auction and a surplus auction, that item that's also on our capital improvement program. And it came up and it's like, well, you think that we could get approval to spend $75,000 on an auction in 5 days? I'm like, no, there's no way that I can do that. So, and so we missed out on that particular, yeah,
For 300,000.
right. So just trying to get a little bit of flexibility.
How do you buy equipment?
As fast as you can when you see it.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
What equipment was
You
it?
don't
Oh,
have,
yeah, truck.
it's,
It
if
was
you don't
back.
take it today, somebody else will.
They
And
will.
you two guys
And if
pick
you're
it
not
up.
willing to overpay, I know exactly the boat you're in. I mean, it's, if you can do it fast, you can save a lot of money. Fine used.
I'm just saying, my point is just that, you know, we have a 1960 model, we know it's on the radar, you know, the parameters could have been requested. And you could have went out and.
We actually thought that,
It's really tough to say it, you know, and I'm speaking for Todd, is that you don't know. I mean, we could have requested to spend 20,000, okay? But we don't know what that forklift's gonna bring until it actually shows up and,
How long have you been looking for
I would
3
say,
years.
we've had it on the radar for 3 years, but, you know, seriously looking at it and having time to look at it, you know, the last quarter of last year and going into this
there's
year,
lots of stuff
one?
out
This
there.
is the first one we got across in the last quarter.
that
Might
looked
buy
pretty
something to
decent.
jump in.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
Yeah, you
to,
know.
just to address your timing issue too, that we had our finance meeting first Friday in February. We didn't meet at the highway committee till the following Thursday. And in the end, that's when the highway committee first got the documentation. So
Yeah, it's just.
it wasn't a normal process. I understand that, the concern, but I still think, the other thing is that the highway department is really a business within a business. It's the county business and then it's the highway department business. And any equipment that's bought at the highway department is not bought with tax levy money. It's all bought with internal service fund money that's generated internally with the county. So it's kind of a hybrid thing, but I understand that there's a process, but on this particular item, we did not follow the exact process. And we had a discussion yesterday at the highway committee meeting about the process. And I think soon, I think Todd and Paul are going to probably get together and look at possibly making trying to do an amendment to our current purchasing policy as far as what departments have authority to spend how much money. So that's going to be coming back to this committee for at least approval or recommendation to the full county board to maybe amend that to extend that. Because I think our current limit is 30,000
Without going to the
without
finance.
going to the finance. committee. And most large pieces of equipment, you're spending a lot more money than 30 grand. So there's got to be some additional flexibility built into that policy. And that should be looked at and brought back.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I don't have a problem if that's the route. That's the
But
route.
I'll be the first one to admit, we did not follow our exact policy on this, but at the same time, I said, I don't think we really had a choice. In this. We had to, and it's not that we're using taxpayer money or we have to modify the budget. The department has the money. It's just getting the authorization.
I think it'd be a good approach to adjust the policy, so this is probably gonna be the new norm for a couple of years. And if you're gonna need to keep purchasing equipment, being able to do it.
95% of the time when we do this, or even more, we always have proposals, you know, and have an analysis, and we take, you know, have the ability to look at different units, and which I'll talk about in the next item. But I think some flexibility would certainly help everybody, I think. You know, we have the ability, you know, we have county credit cards, if we happen to be going down the credit card route, that have, you know, we can raise and lower limits on depending upon what's going on and what's being purchased. That's being monitored by Paul's office. there's a lot of tools in our toolbox. I just think that if we have some flexibility, we would all, can work together to make things a little smoother and take advantage of things a little bit quicker.
Plus, we started looking at used equipment instead of new, which is something that we probably didn't do for a long time,
And then on the city, yeah.
because of the cost of the new had gone so high, so we started really looking at newer, not brand new, but newer, and there's a big cost saving there, so it's decent. But it's hard to find decent. That's the word.
I was in this industry of, in the construction company all the time where people would call and say, we now have what you're looking for, but there's 2 other people on the list you wanted, and you have to make big decisions in hours.
Yeah.
So I think it goes a long way to have the finance approve this to go to the full county board, because we don't need 20 people to question, why aren't we doing this? So I think we should still make motions and go and do the approval.
That's why I'm here.
Yep, and I think that's how it should be done.
And I did forward the information to Corporation Council for preparation of a resolution. I hope that made it there and on the agenda.
She just sent it to me.
I would, in order to further this on, is I just make the motion that we accept the offer as presented.
And I would second that.
Moved by John, seconded by Ginny, that we approve the purchase of a forklift for $33,637. Further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8, for approval of purchase of a half-ton and 3/4 ton pickup truck for that by the highway.
So going to Mayor Vollenweider's discussion. If you go back, probably a couple of years now, on the finance committee, one of the recommendations was to at least check out local vendors for our products that we need, which we normally do. And on our capital improvement program, equipment purchases for the year was a replacement of a pickup truck and then subsequent cascade effect in our fleet. But then there was also, we need to replace the patrol superintendent's truck after the accident from last November. So what we decided to do, instead of going through the state vendor contract, which was what we've normally been doing to purchase pickup trucks, we seem to be getting more and more delayed with that contract too. We had 2 pickup chassis that we ordered. Actually, I ordered 3 a couple of years ago, and we got one of them. And the other 2, a 350, so a 3/4 ton pickup and a 1-ton pickup, their chassis got moved to a different model year, which got upcharged, and we're not going to see them for a full 2 years after we actually signed the order. So in order to avoid that, or at least put us in the position where that might happen again, we decided with these pickup trucks to put out a request for proposals locally to see what we could get for a 3/4 ton and a 1/2 ton pickup. And we did that, gave them like 6 weeks, and I got 0 proposals back for pickup trucks. Sent them out to, I think it was 11 different dealerships, including the local Kewaunee and Algoma dealerships. Nothing. I had a couple of phone calls throughout the process, basically saying, we can't hold on to these things that long while that approval process takes place, which is 3 weeks to a month, depending upon when I schedule it. We got the highway committee, the board approvals and things like that. So coming to you now on the opposite, on the front end, to be able to request a certain limit to purchase a couple of trucks up to a certain point, and to go out and basically work with the local vendors to see what we can find out there that would fit our needs. And we're talking with a few of the vendors. We kind of had an idea that $50,000 for a half ton and a three-quarter ton for 55,000 is probably within the budgeted area that we could find something for that. So again, something we discussed at the highway committee meeting yesterday and the committee agreed with was to request permission to go out and do that. Now, how does that differ than the other departments in here? Because we have the internal service fund. All the other departments, and Paul, you can slap me if I'm out of line here, but they all have it in their outlay if they're going to purchase a vehicle or some big piece of equipment that is an outlay, and that's approved as part of the budget. They can go shopping, and get their proposals and get them approved through the committee and everything else like that. If it happens to go above the budgeted amount, then they have to figure out how to get the money out of their budget to cover the increased amount, or they have to come back to the finance committee and the county board to request more money in order to fulfill those things. A little bit easier process, but they're still getting approvals through you and the county board. So our request, ours is kind of different. I can't get proposals, them to propose and walk through that time period right now. So I'm requesting that we can go and speak with the vendors out there and see what's best for us, and then make recommendations to the highway committee as to what type of pickups we could pursue and who the vendor might be, and then bring that information back up to the approval process because it's above the threshold of the highway committee's approval.
So these trucks you're looking at, these are base trim models, 4-wheel drive, crew cab? Or what are you looking for?
If we were ordering them through the vendor contract, we would be getting all the stuff that we needed, that was essential to us at the department. If we go out and go shopping, we're going to have some things that aren't base level things because they don't really carry those on the lot. And the other part of it is I don't want to wait for an order. We need these things. We need to replace these things and get rid of the stuff that we need to get rid of in a timely manner. If we get in the order thing, then we're just writing the state vendor contract again, where maybe we might get something and maybe we might not in a timely manner.
What are your parameters on these trucks as far as gas, diesel?
Both gas.
How old will you go use?
I would say that we went, late model wise, I would think a couple years old, maybe less, maybe still under warranty, 36,000 or, in that area. If it's not, definitely V8 engines, gas engines, 4-wheel drive. We did, for these particular ones, I'd be looking for, tools of our trade, Wi-Fi capability, because one of them is the patrol superintendent's truck where he's in the truck all the time with the, he's got a computer that he can access different things in there. Tow packages, so that when these trucks come down into the regular workforce, that they can be used to haul trailers and things like that. So there was, you want to know the exact minimum that I put down? I think I have here. V8 gas engine, double cab, 4-wheel drive, backup camera, Wi-Fi capability, DC outlets and AC outlets, remote start, trailer tow package, trailer brake package, trailer wiring packages, running boards. And one of the vendors even responded, well, with those minimum qualifications, you step into, this package, this support package, whatever it might be. So what I'm requesting is if we go out and we get proposals and work with vendors to say, here, this is what we'll save for you, during this time, is we have this amount and we can move ahead with the approval processes. If we find out that there's 75,000 or 60,000 above these approvals, then we'd come back and get approval.
What you're asking for is to have the approval in advance.
To go, yes.
I mean, you're
So that
asking
the
to
highway
be able-
committee has a range
You're
that
asking
they
to be
know.
able to go out and you're asking for us to approve, you're asking the board to approve that you would be able to buy this type of truck within these parameters, and then you will go out and find it.
And yes,
So are we then also handing the authority to the highway committee to say, yeah, that truck's fine? Is that what we're doing?
That's what we do now.
Yeah.
I mean, basically,
Right.
I mean, let's face
We're
it,
just
that's what,
authorizing the expenditure and they're gonna select it.
let's face it, that's what we do now.
Yeah.
It just comes to us, you know, the highway department does the work, then brings it to us. But we completely defer. Has anybody ever had the expertise or the knowledge? I mean, the highway department is the one that goes out and inspects these things and determines. I don't remember anybody on the board ever having the expertise or the knowledge to, you know, question the highway department on it.
I'll make a motion to approve that purchase with those parameters to the highway committee.
Okay, moved by Jeff, seconded by John to approve the spending parameters of 50,000, up to 50,000, a half ton pickup, and up to 55,000, a 3/4 ton pickup by the highway department with funds coming from the internal service.
correct. And if I may add, during your review of the motion, also the salvage money received from the totaled truck in the fall, okay? And Paul, the auto.
We have auto damage, so because we don't buy full collision coverage, we have a fund set aside for replacement.
How does that work on the insurance?
How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, it isn't like our health insurance, is it? When we're self-funded? Okay, we have something, but not.
We
what
have-
Most people would.
Yeah, we have coverage for liability and comprehensive, so the usual hitting of deer, which happens actually quite a bit. We're covered for that. So if we have a collision where it's not covered by comprehensive, we have options. We can try and bill the other person, which I've done successfully a few times, and then once in a while you don't. In this case, there is nobody else to bill. So we have, when I walked in the door, there was an account that had almost 100,000 for this purpose. So if we have, it covers our deductibles and would cover a bigger accident.
So in other words, we're self-insured.
It's self-insurance, I guess you'd say similar to the health insurance, not.
I mean, we're self-insured. I mean, we
For the
we
bigger
set
ones, yeah.
aside, we set aside money, but it's our money.
Yes.
And we obviously don't carry full coverage insurance on all of these vehicles.
Right, can you imagine the premium on?
I can imagine it, and that's.
So Paul, how do we determine that magic number then, say for that pickup truck?
So we sold the one for 20,000. Our insurance company who looks at this gave us a number of what it was valued at. So, okay, this is what it's valued at for, you know, it's not what he gets for replacement, it's what the value was at, which gives us some leeway. So the difference is gonna come out of that.
Okay, I didn't understand how it's split then.
But the insurance company isn't actually giving us it.
No, but they have
We're
access to,
covered.
they have access to all the, like
Right,
that. They can get, us- this is what the vehicle is worth.
Right,
So
they're
that's our
able to,
starting point, yes.
they're able to tell us what it should be.
Just like when I do, say somebody runs into a squad car, which has happened.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll say, okay, here's their insurance, here's who you send the bill to. And they help me find that because for them, it's again like
But
that.
you mean we don't carry full coverage insurance on each of those squad cars?
The squad cars, all, how much is that equipment that?
Can you even get full coverage insurance on?
Oh,
squad
sure, we
cars?
can get it.
Really?
You can get insurance on anything you're gonna pay.
Well, I imagine those premiums, huh? But I mean, but I guess I'm questioning, what's the difference in getting, what is the purpose of getting that number? Because we're covered, we have to replace that truck.
In this case, it's,
Yeah.
it gives us some guidance as to, well, if you lost a $50,000 truck, you can take this lump of money and replace a $50,000 truck. Now, are we gonna find it or are we replacing the exact same thing? Well, how much is the insurance fund gonna pay for it? If we had full coverage, insurance would pay this much. And if you want something more, well, then that's back on the department to say, here's my insurance and it's salvage, but I want something more, so that difference would come up with the department.
Okay, so it's.
In this case, it's a swap of a truck for a truck, so it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
But if you wanted to change, say, okay, that was a half ton, but now we want.
Okay, so,
you know, a
so the
3/4
reason you're getting those numbers is because if the highway commissioner decides, you know, that was a Ranger, Ford Ranger, and I'd really rather have a Platinum Lariat, full ton, 1 ton truck, you know, that would have to be approved.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Okay, the same price.
No platinums, no
Very
platinums.
similar, $500-600 difference, but, okay, I understand. That's, but either way, in the end, I mean, we're paying to replace that.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Yeah, okay.
Is that money on top of the 50 and the 55, or is that part of?
The 50 and the 55, I think, is just the price of the truck, and then we're gonna
But reality
pay
is,
for it through these other means.
reality is what that truck costs is what it costs, and we're getting nothing for, are we getting anything for that, for the total truck?
So the total truck, we already got salvaged a dollar amount. So the fund will make up the difference between
Was it, how
almost
much was it
20,000, just about 20,000.
for the salvage truck?
How much did we get on our 1960 forklift for trade-in?
Yeah, we don't know yet.
The salvage that too.
Because that's
gotta be worth something.
hey, that is gonna,
Military, you may want that.
Yeah, right.
that is gonna come.
Well, they paid 20,000 for.
20 grand on a salvage truck.
So I don't know what's in there. I was thrilled.
Hey,
What is in there?
So the engine,
Yeah,
that was the important part,
Training?
is the engine, know the whole thing. That particular engine in that Ford F-250 was
Because they're-
something that was.
Because that engine had how many miles on it?
We were at, it was a 2021, I think, vehicle, I think, let me just say around 30,000. Yeah,
And that engine was completely undamaged, so you have basically.
oh, no, that's not necessarily true,
Well, not true either.
because it did, was on its side for a little while, and that, but that was up to the purchaser to determine whether it was.
But that's still got $20,000. That's. that
20,000,
amazes me.
oh, $20,000, yes.
Yeah.
And then the other, so the cascade effect, before the question is called, I'm sure, is that the vehicle, the pickup trucks that are being purchased will go into the fleet. A couple other ones will drop down, and then we have some older pickup trucks that will be sold on auction when the time comes. So that's how, as they drop out, we'll sell them on auction. That comes back into the internal service fund, et cetera. So we're not getting rid of the vehicles that we have right now. We're getting rid of, really, a couple of two-wheel drive pickup trucks that have.
So what are you doing in the meantime? Because you've had quite a while that truck has obviously been out of service. And
Right.
it's going to be quite a bit longer that it's going to be out of service. You give him a bicycle or what?
So we, at the beginning,
Three-wheel bike because it's got the basket on the back.
in the beginning, for the first part of the winter,
Where's it get your truck?
he got my truck, and I drove my personal truck back and forth. Then we had a delivery on one of the pickup trucks that we ordered, that came in a timely manner, and that was outfitted, that would normally, it's a crew truck, that is going to be used during, regular operations, but right now we can afford to be able to just have him use it as a patrol superintendent vehicle.
Call the question.
Any other questions, discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Just a follow-up to the two last items by the highway department, as I mentioned before, that in the near future, I think Todd and Paul are going to be getting together to talk about the proposed spending limits with our current policy, and they will be bringing a recommendation back to the committee. So I think that's something that you guys, we need to do.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Todd.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, item 9, review of the vendor payments. Those are all, do those online if you needed to look at them. Any questions on those? There's no action required on those, just that they're available. Supplemental payroll has gone around. I would entertain a motion to approve that. Moved by Virginia, second by John, to approve the supplemental payroll as presented. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion is carried. Any other matters to come before the committee? Paul, you have anything?
I have nothing.
Any committee member have anything? Okay, just as a reminder, then our next meeting will be April 6th at 9 a.m. at the highway shop. And Paul, you'll have something on that campground agreement.
We will make sure they get.
So we can take action on that.
Has anybody been down there?
I was there this summer, and they're making a lot of, it's really cleaned up in there, and they're progressing as they can. What really set them back is that COVID year of 20, when they were first going to get started, and they just couldn't do anything, couldn't get supplies, they couldn't get material. it was a tough year. But I think they're gonna, once it's complete, I think it's gonna be a real nice campground. I hope. Mr. Chairman, do you have anything else you'd like to?
Absolutely not. I
Okay, thank
always
you.
throw my comments.
Okay, if
To
there's nothing,
Mr. Every's great enjoyment, I know.
if there's nothing else coming for the committee, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Virginia, second by Jeff, adjourn, all in favor? Aye, opposed, or none, we are adjourned at